You know, we've all heard that the U.S. national debt is this ticking time bomb. But what if I told you the bomb has already gone off? It's just happening in this slow, silent explosion that's completely rewriting the rules of money. The real story, the one that matters, is hidden behind the headlines. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the government's secret playbook for this crisis, and it has everything to do with the money in your pocket.
So let's start with this number, $38 trillion. I mean, it's so big, it's almost impossible to even wrap your head around, right? It's basically an abstract concept. For years, the story was, don't worry about it, it doesn't matter. But something's changed. The math just doesn't work anymore. And this isn't some far-off problem for our grandkids to deal with. It's happening right now.
And this is the moment it became real. Just let that sink in for a second. We are now spending more money just to pay the interest on our old debt than we are on the entire U.S. military. More than on Medicaid. The truth hidden behind that number is that we've crossed a critical threshold. We're no longer just in debt. We're in a feedback loop.
Yeah, economists have a name for it, the debt spiral. And honestly, it's just a massive version of being trapped in credit card debt. You know, you get that Visa bill, you can't pay it, so you take a cash advance on your MasterCard to make the minimum payment. Well, that's what's happening. The government has to issue new debt just to pay the interest on the old debt. And of course, that just makes the total debt bigger, which makes next year's interest payment even bigger. And you see where this is going. It's a trap that grows exponentially.
So this is the $38 trillion question, isn't it? If you're caught in a spiral like this, how in the world do you get out? Well, the truth is, the normal answers, the things you'd find in a textbook, they're completely useless here.
There are really only two obvious ways out, but they're both total dead ends. First, there's austerity. You know, huge tax hikes, massive spending cuts. Let's be real, that's politically impossible. It'd be like doubling everyone's income tax. Not going to happen. Then there's the other option, just default, simply refuse to pay. But for the U.S., whose dollar is the world's reserve currency, that's the financial nuclear bomb. It would literally vaporize the global banking system overnight.
Okay, so if the front door, austerity, is bricked over, and the back door, default, is locked and barred, well, there has to be another way out, right? There has to be some kind of secret passage, a hidden strategy that's happening right under our noses.
And that brings us to the absolute core of this whole thing. What is this hidden playbook? It's a strategy that has nothing to do with paying the debt back, not in the way you and I think about it. The goal isn't to pay it down, it's to make the debt itself worth less. The official name for this strategy is financial repression. It sounds complicated, but the idea is actually dangerously simple. The whole game is to make sure that inflation runs hotter than the interest rates the government pays. So think about it like this. If the government borrows $100 from you and promises to pay you 2% interest, but at the same time inflation is running at 5%, well, the $102 they pay you back a year later can actually buy less than the $100 you lent them. The real value of their debt just shrank. You're not paying it off, you're inflating it away.
Now, what's truly worth noting here is that this isn't some new, crazy idea. It is the exact same playbook the U.S. used after World War II to get rid of an even bigger debt problem. For a full decade, the Fed just capped interest rates at around 2.5%, while they let inflation run wild, averaging over 6%. And just like that, year after year, that massive war debt just quietly melted away.
But let's be crystal clear about what's going on here. This is not some kind of victimless magic trick. It's a transfer of wealth. It is a quiet, deliberate, and government-sanctioned transfer of your purchasing power from your pocket directly to the government's balance sheet. And that brings up a really important question.
Right. If the government is the one borrowing and getting the benefit, and the people saving money are the ones losing, who exactly is footing the bill for this $38 trillion problem today?
The answer couldn't be simpler. It's you. You are. Anyone holding U.S. dollars, anyone with money in a savings account, anyone living on a fixed income, you are the one whose wealth is being systematically drained to pay down this national debt. Your savings are the collateral in this giant plan. And this isn't some abstract theory. This is the hidden tax you feel every single day. It's why that Chipotle burrito that was about $8 a decade ago is now pushing $12. It's why your Netflix bill has more than doubled. This isn't a sudden crash. It's a slow boil. This is financial repression in action, a steady erosion of what your money can actually buy. And hey, if you're finding this explainer insightful, do us a quick favor and hit that like and subscribe button. That way you won't miss what's coming next.
This strategy has basically created a whole new unwilling economic class. Some people call it the donor class. Think about it.
If your savings account is earning, say, 4%, but the real cost of your life, your food, your gas, your housing, is going up by 8%, you are in effect donating 4% of your wealth to the government every single year to help them with their debt problem. You're the one paying it off.
Now here's where the real sleight of hand comes in. Because the government has this massive, multi-billion-dollar incentive to make the official inflation number, the CPI, look as low as possible. It's why since the 1980s, they've quietly changed the formula for how they calculate it dozens of times. But the truth is never really hidden in a government report, is it? It's on your receipt from the grocery store. The number that matters is what you actually have to pay.
So what's the consequence of all this? Well, it fundamentally breaks the most basic rule of a healthy economy. It creates this dangerous era of what you could call forced speculation, where doing the responsible thing, saving your money, actually becomes a guaranteed way to lose.
These are the new rules of the game, whether we like it or not. Rule number 1, saving in cash is a guaranteed loss. Your money will be worth less next year. Rule 2, because of that, you are forced to take risks just to preserve your wealth, not even to grow it, just to keep what you have. And Rule 3, you have to buy assets, stocks, real estate, anything the government can't just print more of, in a desperate attempt to outrun the devaluation of the currency. The entire economy becomes a casino, and they're forcing you to place a bet.
But a strategy like this can't last forever. You can only boil the frog so slowly for so long before it realizes what's happening. So what's the end game here? When this quiet strategy of just inflating the debt away isn't enough anymore, what happens next?
Well, the analysis points to two potential and, frankly, pretty chilling futures. On one hand, you have total control. This would likely come in the form of a central bank digital currency. This isn't just digital cash, it's programmable money. It would give the Fed the power to do things like implement negative interest rates directly on your account, or even put an expiration date on your savings to force you to spend it. The other path is a lot more direct: explicit confiscation. This is when the government just stops being subtle. We're talking about massive new taxes, or as we've seen many times in history, like the US gold seizure in 1933, they just take it.
And that really leaves us with the final, stark question. The hidden tax of inflation is already happening. But when that's no longer enough to manage the debt, will the endgame be total technological control over every single dollar you earn and save? Or will it be a more old-fashioned, but just as brutal, outright taking of your wealth? The playbook is already in motion. The only real question left is how it ends.